Climbing at 3,000, clear for takeoff, LS 186.
In 2004, runway 25 right at Foxtrot, taxi position at hold.
Long Beach ground, Cessna 21 Sierra, PAC, taxi
46,
with
maintain
November.
3000, runway 25 right at Foxtrot, clear for takeoff, with the jet departing in sight.
The government started using aircraft in the early 1930s to support resource missions, transport personnel, and fight fires. As aircraft became more readily available and their use increased, so did the accident rate. To stem the rise in accidents, the Forest Service and Department of Interior began to institute safety protocols. The DOI took it one step further and in 1973 established OAS, known as AMD, Aviation Management Directorate, serves as an oversight for aviation users that provides training and technical expertise to both agencies. But most importantly, it provides a valuable resource of contract pilots and aircraft that have passed strict requirements and are proven to have the experience and capabilities to complete our missions safely. Lessons learned have proven that an agency-carded pilot and properly inspected aircraft can mean the difference between successfully completing the mission and total disaster.
Welcome from Interagency Aviation Training. As we know, the use of aviation has quadrupled over the years, and our missions have become increasingly more complex. So today we're going to talk about aircraft pre-use inspection, focused primarily on non-fire special use flights. We will emphasize why we inspect aircraft, why it's important, and how it's done. And to better help you understand the process, we will discuss the components of the airplane and how they work, and we'll walk you through an actual aircraft pre-use inspection. We will give you tips on what to look for, what questions to ask, and how to document what you find. At the end, you'll have a better understanding of how the process works and why it's so important.
First, we're going to take a look at the parts of the airplane and briefly explain what it is they do. The propeller is a rotating airfoil. When it's turning, it produces thrust that pulls the airplane through the air. The engine compartment and cowling. If there are any fluid leaks, this is where you'll find them. The main fuselage, cockpit, and passenger compartment. The landing gear consists of the tires, wheels, brakes, and landing gear struts. Other aircraft will have specialized landing gear such as skis or floats. The wing struts provide additional support for the wings. The ailerons are the control surfaces on the outboard ends of the wings. They control the airplane about its longitudinal axis, allowing the airplane to turn or bank. The flaps are panels on the trailing edge of the inboard section of the wings. They extend and retract at the same time and increase lift and drag. The wing is the airfoil that provides lift. The horizontal and vertical stabilizers balance the wing and help keep the aircraft on a straight course. The elevator controls the movement of the aircraft about its lateral axis. When the controls are pushed forward or back, the nose pitches up or down. The rudder controls the aircraft about its vertical axis. Pushing the right pedal causes the rudder to push the tail to the left, yawing the nose to the right. The left pedal pushes the tail to the right, yawing the nose to the left. The overall purpose of an aircraft pre-use inspection is to ensure that the aircraft contractor is abiding by the contract and providing pilots and aircraft that meet our agency's unique training and qualification requirements. This also gives us the opportunity to physically inspect the aircraft before use, so the government is not held accountable for damage acquired prior to our flight.
I think the most important item that anybody can do in regard to getting on any aircraft is to take the extra initiative to look at the aircraft and see that we won't have any surprises. The foundation behind this is that it's just one more safety element. It's one more thing that we, the user, can do to prevent any surprises that occur. And most importantly, it is the precursor to eliminating potential for an accident.
Before your arrival, the pilot should have done an aircraft pre-flight inspection. This inspection is one that all pilots do to ensure that the aircraft is ready for flight. Similar to the pre-flight, your pre-use inspection is to ensure that both the pilot and aircraft are ready to complete their mission. Your inspection begins with the pilot. Meet with the pilot and ask to check his or her agency card. Check the name on the card, the aircraft they are carded to fly, the missions they are approved to perform, and the expiration date.
We're looking at the pilot and making sure that he complies with all the requirements of the contract that he's been hired to work under. The FAA looks at that pilot before he comes to us for a look at general flying skills. The FAA has no idea what kind of missions we as an agency are going to be asking them to do. So it's our job as an inspector pilot to make sure that they can comply with the contract requirements and do it safely.
You will also have to check the aircraft's data card. Check to make sure the N numbers on the card and aircraft match. Check the expiration date and ensure the aircraft is carded for your particular mission, and also note this on your checklist. A good place for you to start your inspection is at the front and work your way around the aircraft back to where you started. Ask the pilot to join you as you look over the aircraft so that you can ask questions as you go along. As you approach the aircraft, look at its general appearance. Run your fingers along the blades of the propellers and check the spinner for nicks, dents, or cracks. As you work your way around the aircraft, look for dents, cracks, wrinkles, damaged paint, temporary fixes, or missing rivets and screws. Check the windows to make sure they are clean and clear, and look at the wing struts, making sure they are not bent or damaged in any way. Be sure to check underneath the engine cowling for any signs of leaks. Look at the main landing gear. The tires and wheels should be in good condition. Check for improper inflation, bald spots, cracks in the rubber, and leaks from the brake lines. Walking along the wing, look for dents and wrinkles in the leading edge that could be a sign of internal damage.
In those situations, it's like you said, it's you don't want to fly with it. That's going to be your bottom line position. Now that's tough to say when you're in that we got to get something done position. So hopefully by having procurement documents, you're going to be able to call either a technical individual or a contracting officer and figure out how can you proceed with the deficiency that exists. And probably sometimes it's hard to say, but you got to look at if it's a bad deficiency, it may not mean that you're going to do that project that day.
Pay particular attention to the wingtips, navigation lights, and strobes because they are especially vulnerable to damage. As you walk along the back of the wing, look for warped edges of the ailerons and flaps. Check the cabin and cargo doors for dents and chipped paint. Because of heavy use, this is where we see the most damage. Continue to check the skin of the fuselage and look for damaged or broken antennas. Look under the tail section for damaged metal and paint. Check the horizontal stabilizer and elevator, then work your way around to the vertical stabilizer and rudder, taking note of anything out of the ordinary. Aircraft are fairly symmetrical, so use this to your advantage. If you see something that looks suspicious, check its double on the other side. Continue around the aircraft and check for the fueling ports and placards. Ensure that the pilot has visually checked the fuel quantity. When you are finished with the exterior inspection, look at the interior. Check the upholstery and make note of any rips, tears, or any unusual wear and tear. Make sure the seat belts are the appropriate type and are serviceable. Look over the general appearance of the instrument panel. Look for broken or missing instruments and check for the appropriate avionics, especially an agency-compatible radio. And finally, check the ELT, first aid, fire extinguisher, and survival kit.
If things happen that make you uneasy or appear to be unsafe, you're encouraged to discuss your concern with the pilot.